Good morning and a warm welcome to our viewers and our karting enthusiasts all over the world. Welcome and thank you for joining us at the South African National Challenge. It's a Rotax Max Challenge. It's a karting championship, and this is round 2 of 4 that we have in South Africa for 2022. We've started off, our first national challenge was down at the Kalani circuit in Cape Town, and for second round we're here in Benoni, Joburg. It's at the Formula K track. It's a fairly new track. It was only completed in 2019, and so the drivers aren't too familiar with this track, which is going to make for some interesting driving. The track temperatures today are fairly cool. It's been a chilly 6 degrees and with a maximum expected of 15 degrees. And so the motors are going to want to perform out there, but the tires are probably going to do a bit of squealing. There's a lot of rubber going down. It's going to be exciting and competitive. Our track director today, event director, is Roger Stephen. Our assistant COC is Mitch Kutsia. And our clerk of the course, the man of the moment, is Adrian Wood. And I'm hoping to catch up with him a little bit later. Hopefully he's not going to be too busy giving out penalty documents to our drivers. Those of you who want to get involved in karting, you need to register with WAMZA. That's the World of Motorsport ZA. Once you register with them, you get yourself a kart and you get out on the track. Those of you who have a favorite driver and aren't able to be in Benoni today, you can follow the live times on racemonitor.com or on speedhive.mylaps.com. Those are the 2 apps, and they're reliable in giving you your favorite drivers' best times. We're going to look forward to some competitive driving, and hopefully you'll join us for the entire day here on a chilly 26th of July 2022 in Benoni.
Straight into DD2s, here we go. This is where things could get real interesting as we look at this front end of this field. Sebastian Boyd, Jamie Smith, Kian Grottis, Joseph Ools, Brandon Smith, Waylon Wyman, Nicholas Spaniasos, Nico Zafris, and of course Devon Brock and Carl Visser fighting hard. We don't have Brad Liebenberg, who was entered earlier on. I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but I'm just going to see if I can pick up on the 12 kart. I don't see it on track at the moment, but multiple SA champion Brad Liebenberg was entered into this heat, but hasn't quite made it onto track at this point in time. But here we go for DD2s. Boyd and Smith on the front row, Grottis and Ools, Smith and Wyman, Spanianis and Zafris ahead of Brock and Visser. Stand by for that green flag. They'll get into the tram lines, and DD2 is about to go to battle now for the first heat of their 3 heats of the day. Here we go, round the right-hander into the tram lines, and there we go, green flag, and we're racing down towards turn 1. Bit of chopping and changing there. Good move there from Ools. Ools trying to get through almost instantaneously to the front end if he can. Not going to quite get there. He gets up to second place by the looks of things as Joseph Ools, who's the number 1 kart out there. No, he's topped into 3rd place by the looks of it. Always easy to spot him with that gold helmet. But as they come through now out of the dam section up through the twisties for the first time, heading back up the hill towards the top end of the circuit. Looks like it is the front end of this field where things could get a little bit more hair-raising. Starting things out here with a battle between Ools. Brandon Smith is up there too. And watch out for, of course, the charge coming from Jamie Smith. Sebastian Boyd in the mix as well, as always. But the 33 kart of Jamie Smith already applying pressure onto the leader. So you've got a bit of a fight on here. 69 leads things out. It is Boyd from Smith. Smith from Ools as they go to the top of the hill. Joseph Ools now up into that 3 spot, but losing some ground now to the 2 Burrell boys as they start to get a little bit of a move on. Kian Grottis coming through there as well, but dropped down to 4th place now. It's Ools into 3rd, Grottis into 4th. Waylon Wyman and Brandon Smith fighting there with him as they come through. Rolling start, 105.6 there from Boyd, 105.6 from Jamie Smith. 106s and 107s from the rest of the pack, so clearly a slight advantage there from the top 2 as they're now trying to work together. I'm sure there'll be no team orders in that Burrell Art team. Let's see whether or not they're able to do anything about Joseph Ools' attack coming from the back end. Ools in the LN kart. And also running for a chance now to retain that number 1 plate in DD2s. Kian Grottis now onto the 4th place by the looks of it. She's got ahead now of Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith in the Ricardio as they come to the top end. Going left And right up to the top of the track now, heading towards the highway, past the tailpiece of the Sapphire Jumbo. And then it's a left-right flick back down the hill and into the right-hander to complete the second lap in anger. 105.6s earlier on. Let's see if they're going quicker. Should be getting down into probably the 105.4s. Yeah, 105.4s from Boyd and from Smith. 105.1 from Ools. Ools has closed that gap down. So Ools has bridged that gap. Not quite on attack mode just yet from Joseph Ools. He's in third place, but he's still got about 2 kart lengths to make up, and he does that almost as I say that he needs to make it up. And then just behind that, they line up in the 4th spot. 4th place at the moment. You can see a bit of a changing. Here comes Brandon Smith looking for a way through. Does he make it stick? Yes, the Ricardo dives up the inside into 4th as they come into the switchback. It's a right, left, left, and back towards where they came out of earlier on. So Smith on the move there into 4th. Front end is a huge fight between the 2 teammates. No holds barred yet between the 2 of them, but Jamie Smith definitely looking for a chance now to get ahead of Boydie. Sebastian hanging on for now. Sebastian Boyd has got troubles of his own, coming out of his own stablemate as they come through there. 0.05 of a second between the 2 of them as they cross the line the last time. It's probably even closer this time out. Oh, exactly the same, in fact. How would you like it? 105, 198 out of both the karts. First 2 karts on exactly the same lap times as they cross the line. That's how tight it is between the 2 Burrell boys. They're holding nothing back, and Joseph Ools is just waiting to pounce if something goes wrong. They are just hanging in there for dear life. Absolutely amazing lap times out of those 2. Not a difference in the split there between them at all. Exactly the same lap times on the last pass. And Joseph Ools trying to close them down. Working by himself there as Ools. Brandon Smith behind that is pulled away ever so slightly from the pack, fighting for 5th. So Brandon Smith now currently in 4th on his own. We have to try and close that gap down on Joseph Ools. Not always easy to do when you're on your own in a kart. Always easier to work with 2 karts. 2 karts flow through the air a little bit quicker, and you can use each other to sort of get the slipstream effect. Pull each other up to the gap that you're looking to try and break if possible. Here they come to complete another one. Are we going to see some lap times? No, this time looks like Boydie's got a little bit of move on. 105 dead out of Sebastian Boyd. 105.2 out of Jamie Smith. So Boyd has opened the wick up ever so slightly, trying to get away from Smith and Ools. Brandon Smith up in a 4th place. And how far back is he? No, not too far away now from the back end of Joseph Ools. He's a little bit closer, but still some work to do to catch onto the back end of the number 1 kart in 3rd. 69, 33, 1 and 24, your first 4 karts on track. That's how they're going to come through to the switchback area. The fact that they can run so many configurations at this circuit here at Formula K. They are loving life here on the configuration they're running today. And all the action has happened out on the circuit and will be happening for another 2 heats of each of the categories that we got here today on our live stream feed, courtesy of DT Film Services. Right hand, left hand flick, back to a right hand sweeper and then down the hill. Another lap completed in anger here for our DD2s. And it's still Sebastian Boyd controlling things from the front. Ools is now closed onto the back end of Jamie Smith. He's only 0.2 off Smith, so it's a lot closer now between Jamie Smith and Joseph Ools for 2nd. A little bit further back is Brandon Smith. He's also pulled a bit of a margin, 1.5 onto Grottis. Grottis behind that, you've got Spanianis and Zafras. Waylon Wyman in the mix there as well. Not quite where he wants to be though. Wyman would like to be a bit higher up. They come through the back end and you can see them just in the background of the shots there. But the lead battle now opening up slightly is Boyd. 2nd place is where we're seeing the fight. Joseph Ools is looking dangerous. Bringing on the Allen kart. And that gold helmet, as I said, pretty easy to spot on a racetrack. Always makes it a little bit more easier for the commentators. When you've got those various helmets, don't even look at the numbers because they're so difficult to spot on the karts. Just try and look and see what colors they're running, and potentially if they're all in the same colors, what helmet colors they run, because each of these guys have got their own helmet designs. You see some of the guys there from Lodicious Rapso in the house as well. Going to get your helmet design. That's one place you want to be heading to, that's for sure. But as they head down into the dam section, it is Ools on the charge. Brandon Smith trying to close that gap again. Very close here between Brandon Ools and the charge here for 3rd place. He wants to get onto the back end of Joseph Ools, but he's just not been able to bridge it. He's a lot closer. He gets closer and closer almost every single lap, but not quite on the mix just yet there for that third and fourth place battle. He'd like to make it a three-way battle for second if he could, but I think he's going to be just found wanting by the time these laps run out here in the first heat of DD2s. Ools now looking for a chance. Jamie Smith just keeping about a kart length, half a kart length there between himself and Joseph Ools for the second place on track. Loving all this action. Of course, we're loving all the support we're getting from the sidelines here at the circuit as well as on our live stream feed. Massive welcome to everybody who's just joined us from all around the world. He joined us in the midst of DD2's heat number 1 here at Rotax Max Challenge South Africa's 2022 South African Championships. It's round 2 of that championship. We're at Formula K, which is in Benoni, just outside of Johannesburg, on the eastern frontier of Johannesburg in Gauteng. Leader Sebastian Boyd, that's the man we're watching coming out of the switchback and twisty area, now heading into the second part. And of course, into that switchback, that's where Ools closes onto second place Jamie Smith. Jamie Smith in the 33 karts, that Joseph Ools all over the back of him. They have slowed up slightly once again, looking at the gap to Brandon Smith there in fourth. The Ricardo is slowly but surely ticking off the gap and the space between himself and Joseph Ools in the number 1 kart in third place. But I don't think he's going to have enough time to maybe make it a three-way battle for second. He has to try and stay with that lead pack from the word go. But of course he was down in 5th and 6th place initially, had to fight his way to the front end of that second pack, and by that stage the first 3 had pulled away. So it's Ools in 3rd, Smith in 4th, Grottis is 5, 6 is Wayman ahead of Spanianis. Waylon Wyman under pressure now from Nicholas Spanianis into the closing stages. The biggest pressure though is being applied by Joseph Ools as he looks for a way through. Smith soaking it up. Not going to make it easy for him, that is for sure. Smith is under a little bit more pressure. You can see in the background. Watch out though for that 5th place kart. Slowly but surely closing in on kart 24, Brandon Smith. Could be in a bit of trouble here, that is for sure. But look at this. This is great action here from DD2s. These two DD2 boys have been at it almost all race long. And Joseph Ools, I think, has been waiting to pounce. He doesn't want to go too early, but he also can't afford to wait too much longer. Otherwise, he's not going to have a chance to get through there. No worries at all there for Sebastian Boyd. 1.124 seconds up the road. And into the closing stages now. Not quite sure if we're onto the penultimate lap. I would think we're either there or 2 to go. Can't be much longer in this one between these top contenders in DD2. As I mentioned earlier on, all of the categories here fighting for honours in the SA Championships for round 2 of Rotax Max Challenge, and looking for a spot to represent South Africa at the World Finals. So it looks like we're in for a bit of a fight here for second and third, but look in the background as well, 4 and 5 has got up close and personal as well. Grottis has now closed the gap down on Brandon Smith. So anybody's race here for second and third, anybody's for 4 and 5. There you go. Opportunity to see that for the first time. Team Gazoo Racing closing onto the back end of that Ricardo. And it's definitely on here. Bit of a wide line. Watch for the cutback through the right and left flick. Sebastian Boyd has got it all under control, but this is a charge here for 4 and 5. And any one of them can take it. Checkered flag is out. Boyd has taken it from Smith. He takes the victory. Ools gets second. We're watching Smith and Grottis go to the line. And Brandon Smith just able to keep up Kian Grottis and Waylon Wyman. Nicholas Spanianis comes through there, beats out Carl Visser. Nico Zafiris and Devon Brock will make up the top 10. Great stuff there from DD2, our first heat of the day. And that concludes our first heats of the race meeting as well. That was the final heat of Heat 1s. I believe we might be going into a small lunch break here. And then from there we come back from race action here at round 2 of Rotax Max Challenge at Formula K in Benoni. Boyd from Smith and Ools, your top 3 in DD2s.
Sebastian Boyd, big name in DD2 racing. The DD2s, we've got 11 competitors on the grid today. It's basically you've got to be 15 years old and older, 175 kgs on the Waylo. Sebastian, you ranked first in the country this year, but you're a Cape Town boy. But it's going well for you today. You qualified first and you've won your first heat. You must be very happy with yourself.
Yeah, it was great to have a good start in Cape Town. Obviously makes it a bit easier now, but now that we have a win, it's much better.
Yeah, I'm sure it takes all the pressure off. Jamie was there and thereabout, but Kyle dropped off a lot. Did you see him on the track at all, or were you just focused on your race?
I was just focusing on Jamie behind, obviously managing the gap. I didn't really see Kyle.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Sebastian, cart number 69. That's my cart as well. Good number. I wish you all the best for heat 2 and 3.
Thanks.
I've got Joseph Ulls here, also a Cape Townian boy. He qualified 4th this morning. He's ranked right up there in the top 6 for nationals after his Cape Town national. Joseph qualified 4th this morning, but came in, I think it was 5th or 6th?
We actually came in 3rd.
So, third in heat 1?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my timer stopped working as I rushed down for interviews.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
We're struggling coming out the corners a bit, so I was hanging on to Jamie there for a while, but unfortunately we never were able to make a move stick. I think we may just have to make some minor changes to the setup. The cart overall doesn't seem too bad. We just need to improve the release, and maybe we'll have a better chance in heat 2 and heat 3.
All right, I think a lot of guys are going for the harder axle because there are quite a few straights here. There are 4 straights over 100 meters long, so maybe it's give and take in the windy bits.
Yeah, I agree. We just, as I said, just some minor changes to the cart. It's not that far off, we shall see in heat 2 and 3.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. Also, it's going to be very competitive out there. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
We're not holding back now after that big break in proceedings, so straight into DD2s. And another big fight expected at the front end there. Kazoo Racing's Joseph Ulls will be looking to take on the front end of this field and fight it out once again with Jamie Smith and Sebastian Boyd. It's kind of where we finished things up in the first one. Kieran Grottis, though, will definitely be looking to try and mix it up there as well, along with Brandon Smith and Waylon Wyman. Nicholas Zafiris and Nicholas Spanianis, Devon Brock and Carl Visser. 10 carts about to go and fight it out now for honours in heat 2 of DD2s. Boyd and Grottis on the front row as they come around one more time. Brandon Smith and Wyman to start things out here for heat 2. Look at the power, and Hammer gets dropped as they head towards turn 1. Looks like Boyd might hang on. Grottis in second place as they come through turn 1 and 2. Grottis being outgunned there slightly by the looks of things. One of the Ricardios diving through. Is that Brandon Smith? Yes, it is. Brandon Smith up into what is now second place. Grottis drops back 1 and dropped back 4, in fact, down to 5th place as we see a big move there from Joseph Ulls, already moving up to 3rd place. He was starting down in 7th, so he made up a massive amount of ground coming out of turn 1 and 2, and now into the switchback. Has a big dive on Smith into the switchback. Nice move there from Ulls up into what is now 2nd place, and coming along for the ride, he's bringing a couple of the seasoned campaigners in this category. Waylon Wyman diving through there as well, looking for a chance to be in the top 3 and stay there. Out front though, controlling things from the front end, Sebastian Boyd. He was on the front row and he was exactly where he needed to be to try and ensure he can go for a second victory here in this very hotly contested DD2 category. He's got Ulls in 2nd, Wyman in 3rd, Smith in 4. 5 by the looks of things is now Grottis. Kieran Grottis dropping back slightly. Jamie Smith's on his tail. Then it's Carl Visser and Nicholas Spanianis. Brock and Zafiris. Last card across the line there. First lap of 10 completed, 9 to go. And we've got a change up possibly here. No, we haven't. Thought we might have a change up for the lead, but just missed out on the lead cart there. Sebastian Boyd was just out of the shot of the camera panning through. And I thought we might have seen Joseph Ulls at the front. Ulls being helped out there by the Kazoo Racing squad, and of course his mechanic in the sidelines there, Jared Ray, doing an amazing job to get that cart sorted out. And he's looking for a chance now to possibly run and close down on Sebastian Boyd, bringing Waylon Wyman along for the ride. Brandon Smith lost out slightly there. He wants to try and get back onto the back end of Wayman if he can. And Wyman Cart is very good. And little Tony Cart chassis pulling hard now to try and stay there with the Gazoo Racing man. Across the line, 105.8 was Sebastian Boyd's last pass. He goes to 105.8 again. 0.9 off is Ools, 0.1 off the back of Ools is Wyman. So there's less than a second between those top three. Ools and Wyman trying to work together there to get onto the back end of the leader. Sebastian Boyd, lots of time in the saddle there for him in terms of experience. Definitely knows exactly how to put a cart at the front end and keep it there. Of competitive categories like DD2. We saw when he was in Senior Max and even when he's in Junior Max, his ability to stay at the front end and fight hard. He's now keeping out the current champion. And a man who, of course, in previous seasons took an Africa Cup win, which of course is on the 17th of July down at the Adobe Circuit. So we've got a national and the Africa Cup double header weekender on the 15th to the 17th of July. Definitely something you want to be making sure you've got that in your diaries. Wyman fastest on the last pass. Will he be the same? No. This time it's Boyd. No, in fact, it's Keon Grottis. Keon Grottis has moved himself up into 5th place and he's gone quickest of everybody. 105.422 there from Keon Grottis, trying to close the gap down on Brandon Smith. And he's right there with Smith now as they come into turn 4. Up through 5, heading to the switchback. Grottis has got through. He's got ahead of Brandon Smith. Smith tries to come back at him into that little switchback section. Smith looking to return the favour, but he had to go defensive. He had to try and keep out the charge coming from behind there. And that looks like it might be Nico Zaveras who's putting the pressure on him. 6.5 laps to go for these guys as they head up towards the top of the hill again, past the Fly Sapphire Jumbo. Flying at the front, as he did in race 1, is Sebastian Boyd, pulling away now from Ools. Ools doing the same thing, ever so slightly, to Waylon Wyman. Not as big a gap, but every lap it gets bigger and bigger. Half a second now between Ools and Wyman. Grottis has got through on Smith. He's also pulled a bit of a margin now on Smith. Smith having to go defensive to keep out the cart behind him. So it's Wyman on the charge. And has he been able to do anything about Ools? No, Ools just hanging on to that gap he's pulled over Waylon Wyman, trying to bridge the gap here to Sebastian Boyd out front. So let's see what the Gazoo Racing man can do here. Has he got enough time? Yes, he's got plenty of time. 5.5 laps will be more than enough time to bridge that gap and possibly spoil the day for Sebastian Boyd. Boyd's into the S-bend. The gap is notably closer, as you can see from the visuals there. Big move on from Ools' point of view to close that gap down. It was just over a second as they crossed the last time. Has it come under a second on this last pass? No, stays at a second. So maintains the gap, Boyd and Ools. About 2/10 up there between Ools and Wyman. Ools losing out to the tune of 2/10 on that last pass. Double left, double right, into turn 4 and 5. Here we go, up towards the switchback. 5 laps to go, 5 done. So halfway stage reached in this second heat of the day for DD2s. Second pack on track, also starting to get a little bit more up close and personal. Keon Grottis pulling away slightly. As we go, aerial material here, courtesy of our drone. Looking at the top end of Formula K. Through the S, down through the right, through the left flick, and into the right-hander that completes another lap. That's going to make it 4 laps to go. 6 down. Boyd now 1.1 second ahead, so he's pulled slightly on Ools. Ools once again back into the clutches of Wyman. Wyman's closed the gap down again. Under a second between Ools and Wyman. Tony Cart's starting to put the pressure on now, trying to close it down again into the Gazoo Racing man. Behind that, you can see them lining up, looking to try and pick up any pieces that might fall apart here at the front end. Led out by Grottis. Grottis then got Smith. Smith's got Spanianos behind him. So all of these carts now looking for a chance of finishing on the top 3 overall and for the top 3 in Heat 2. Boyd looking good so far for a double win. Boyd comes through the right-hander. It's a double right into a very tricky S-bend. Off camber and downhill there. And coming from a off camber right-hander at the top of the hill. Very different way of putting an S-bend into a configuration of a race circuit. Jamie Smith, fastest on the last pass. Will he be fastest this time though? No, they all stay relatively in the 5s and 6s. Almost every single kart in the 105s there. Just showing how evenly matched these karts are. And also showing us just how incredibly close this championship can be when they are so evenly matched. We're only in round 2. We got 3 and 4 still to go. 1 is in Indubi. The final round is at Swartkops International Kart Circuit. That's in September. So some work still to be done in this championship. As I said, most of these guys fighting for honours here and potential to have a look at a seat for the World Finals. Starting to get a little bit more up close and personal in that mid-pack. We're watching the leaders, but I just caught a glimpse of some overtaking maneuvers in the background. And it was very close there between 4 and 5. Another lap completed for Boyd. Gets his head down, getting the job done. Ools in second. Doesn't have an answer. 4-5, heating up big time. Smith and Smith. Brandon Smith and Jamie Smith are side by side as they cross the line. Jamie Smith just tucks in behind Brandon Smith as they go down towards the dam. We're waiting for them to come up into turn 3 and 4. Watch out for that first blue cart on track. It's Jamie Smith fighting with Brandon Smith. And it's Ricardo versus Burrell.
Right, with the DD2
having a fantastic little dice there for what is 5 and 6 on track.
Second race, the next class up will be the Micromaxes for the 3rd.
Lead cart getting away here with no problems at all.
Then guys, we're running a little bit behind schedule, maybe close to 10 minutes.
Sebastian Boyd with a lap and a half to go. He'll be looking forward to a double victory, that is for sure. He knows exactly what to do in this situation. He's backed out slightly, but he hasn't backed out enough for Ools to close the gap down on him. And about to start the final lap. So it's Sebastian Boyd, Joseph Ools, that's your top 2 as they come across the line. Wyman, Grottis, and look how tight it is here behind that. Smith and Spanianos going at it. Lead cart comes out of 3, up into 4. Nice run here from Sebastian Boyd, has not put a wheel wrong. Joseph Ools has had a bit of a fight on his hands to get to second. And then once he got to second, has had not enough time to close in and potentially spoil the day. Grottis trying to spoil the day in the background. Grottis had a big look there. Looking to try and get up into 3rd place if he can. Grottis all over the back of Waylon Wyman. Wyman keeping him out for now. Here comes the second of the Gazoo Racing team drivers looking for a way through. Kian Grottis had to tuck in behind Waylon Wyman. Wyman hangs on for now. Back to the top of the hill they go for the last time here in heat number 2. Back down the hill here for Sebastian Boyd and another victory on the cards. Done deal as he comes across the line for the checkered flag. Boyd takes it, Ools in second. 3rd place still up for grab there between Wyman and Grottis. Wyman's going to hang on, he does. And Grottis comes through to beat out Jamie Smith and Brandon Smith. Spanianos, Nikos Veris in 8th place. And Devon Brock finishes up just ahead of Carl Visser. So there you go. Boyd from Ools, Wyman and Grottis, Jamie Smith, the top 5. Beating out Brandon Smith, Spanianos, Safiris and Brock in heat number 2.
Sebastian Boyd with me. We interviewed Sebastian a little earlier, kart 69. He had qualified in first, he had done heat 1 in first, and now he's done heat 2, and guess where he is? P1. Sebastian, it's all going absolutely fantastically for you today.
Yeah, it was a really good race. We got a good gap in the beginning and then just maintained it throughout the race.
I think that's the key here. Hey, if you get a toe on that 210 meters start-finish straight, you're in trouble. But you just seem to be fantastic at breaking that toe.
Yeah, a crucial thing is to obviously break the toe because then they don't get the slip. So once you have that toe broken, it's much easier to lead.
Yeah, and you just don't look back. Every lap was near perfect. Well done. I'm impressed.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, into race 3 of DD2's. Lap number 2, Sebastian Boyd leading out over Ools and Jamie Smith. Grottis under pressure there from Waylon Wyman. So some usual contenders at the front end. Boydie already going into the 106.4s. Quickest of the karts on track at the moment, but they should get down into the 104s by the time they get to full flight here at Formula K for the final race of the day. Boydie, Ools, Smith, Wyman, Grottis, Brandon Smith and Spanianos. That's how they come across the line for the third and final heat here, and with 8 laps to go, it's still very much up for grabs there. Joseph Ools certainly looking for one victory at least here today, and Jamie Smith will definitely like to outgun his teammate at some point. Sebastian Boyd has not put a wheel wrong all day long and is looking for 3 out of 3, as we saw earlier on there from Casey Ensel-Smith. So it's going to be the only 2 karters up for potentially a perfect day in the saddle. Let's see whether or not they're going to get that here by the time the checkered flag drops in about 7.5 laps time. They're into the switchback, and Ools under a bit of pressure there from Jamie Smith. A much better start. Smith up the inside, gets through the Burrell Art Man, forcing the Gazoo Racing kart a little bit wide. I think Joseph Ools will be a little bit unhappy about that little forceful maneuver from Jamie Smith, but he got the job done, and he's up in his 2nd place now, trying to close things down now on Boyd. Boyd in the lead, his teammate right behind him. They come through the S-bend at the top of the hill and back down towards us on the start-finish line. It'll be 7 laps to go for these guys as they cross the line. Smith was quickest last lap. He's potentially quickest again. No, this time it goes to Sebastian Boyd only by 0.06 of a second. Or 0.6 of a second, I should say. And he just hangs on to the lead for now, but it's Jamie Smith who's looking to close him down. Ools coming under pressure. In the background, you can see Waylon Wyman has turned the wick up there on the Tony kart and is closed right onto the back end there of the man from Gazoo Racing. Wyman all over the back end of him. Joseph Ools looks like he might have a little bit of an issue here in this 3rd and final heat. He has dropped back dramatically over the 2 Burrell Art karts out front. Heading down into the switchback, out of it they come, and up towards 7 and 8 on track. 8th corner on the circuit. This is XPS, and it's Burrell Art 1 and 2. Formation flying here from Boyd and from Smith. We know team orders down in Burrell Art, I'm sure, other than taking each other out. So it'll be every man for himself on track. Sebastian Boyd looking to do another fast lap here and stay at the front end. Is he quickest? No, he's not. This time it's Jamie Smith. 105 dead from Smith, closes that gap down even more. Down by 0.2 now to 0.3. Half a second down to 0.3 there. Means 0.2 of a second up from Jamie Smith onto the back end of Boyd. Brandon Smith coming through the background as well. Looks like there's been a bit of a problem. Have we lost Joseph Ools? We have. Ools has dropped down out of the rankings. Possibly pulled into pit lane. It's Brandon Smith who's up to 3rd place. Waylon Wyman now into 4th. I wonder if there's an issue there between Wyman and Smith. Or potentially between Wyman and Ools. Brandon Smith is up into 3rd place. He's all on his own now in the Ricardio. Waylon Wyman trying to get back onto the tailpiece of that Ricardio kart. Still got some potential in the hand to get onto the podium again. And behind that is Grottis. Kian Grottis slowly but surely closing in onto the battle for what is going to be 3rd place. Brandon Smith's got that at the moment. Tight stuff here between them as they go down to complete another lap and the halfway stage reach. So we got 5 to go. 5 laps of action coming your way here for the last bit of race action from round 2 of Rotax Max Challenge South Africa. And it's much closer here at the front end. Close enough for 3rd place as well. Look at Wyman all over the back of Smith. Here comes the 33 on 69. Jamie Smith would definitely like to spoil the day here for Sebastian Boyd. He wants one of these victories. Brandon Smith wants to keep out Wyman, keep out Grottis. They've only got 4.5 laps to try and do that. Jamie Smith looks good. He's looking very good, in fact. Body language on that kart and the driver means business. Brandon Smith trying to hang on. Can he keep out Waylon Wyman for these next 3.5? 4.5, I should say. Out of the S-bend. Through the flick and now down towards it. Let's see a bit of a move on. Is there going to be a move on here? He has a look. Wyman is close enough to Brandon Smith to try and outgun him into turn 1. He goes for the overtaking maneuver. Pulls out into turn 1 and into turn 2. As he got through, he has. Wyman goes through. Wyman goes through into third place ahead of Brandon Smith. So Waylon Wyman up ahead of Brandon Smith now. Good start there from him. And it's turning out to be even better as he ticks them off one by one, getting himself back up into contention for a podium in the last heat of the day. Jamie Smith all over the back end of Sebastian Boyd, but Boyd just controlling things from the front end. Really hasn't put a wheel wrong here, has Sebastian Boyd all day long. 105 dead, 105-1. That's how evenly matched those top two are. Wyman ahead of Smith. Smith into the clutches now of Kian Grottis. Second of the Gazoo Racing team members coming up onto the back end of that Ricardio of Brandon Smith. Another lap completed from our leaders. Here comes the second pack across the line. Wyman pulling a little bit of a margin now over Smith. Third place battle up for grabs still there, with 3 to go. Sebastian Boyd must have got something on that pit board because he's now turned the wick up. He's pulled 2 kart lengths away from his teammate. Jamie Smith hasn't had an answer to that pace just yet. Brandon Smith looking to try and close the gap down on Waylon Wyman. He's going to have to go defensive on a few occasions there to keep out the intentions being shown by 5th place Kian Grottis. Grottis all over the back end of Brandon Smith, looking for a way past. Can he find it? Not yet. Alan Karchaki working hard there with Grottis behind the wheel. Waylon Wyman comes out of 8, XPS corner, up to the top of the hill again. And Brandon Smith under attack. Grottis on the inside, and look, didn't quite make it stick. It's very difficult to try and pass through the S-bend. As I said earlier on, we only had one driver able to go into the S-bend and make an overtaking maneuver. Sebastian Boyd with the fastest lap of the race, 104.8. He's now turned up and decided, right, time to get away. Let's leave Jamie Smith in my wake and make it 3 out of 3. Smith hasn't had an answer. Let's see why. 2 laps to go. It is Sebastian Boyd controlling things and now getting away from Jamie Smith, his teammate. Waylon Wyman's also opened up a small margin over Brandon Smith. Smith having to go defensive, slowing him down slightly. He's keeping out Kian Grottis for now. It's more down to the exit point of that switchback. Turn 7, turn 8 coming up now, XPS corner. It's Waylon Wyman looking for an opportunity to stay in 3rd place. He's got enough of a margin at this point in time, I would say, to keep out Brandon Smith, because Smith has to go defensive on all occasions to keep Kian Grottis at bay. Leaders have started their final lap. Here comes 3, 4 and 5, and fastest lap of the race being set there on the penultimate lap by Jamie Smith. He's not giving up. Jamie Smith is not giving this one up without a fight. He's closed up again on the back end of Boyd. Sebastian Boyd will realize that. He'll hear that engine right on his tail. That Rotax will be screaming out big time for him. And he can realize, if he just looks over his shoulder, which he hardly ever does, Sebastian Boyd, to see Jamie Smith in his rearview mirrors. Coming through out of the switchback for the last time. This is where things could change up. Can Smith find a way to close him down under braking? There's not enough time here. Smith is going to have to settle for 2nd place. He's also going to have to settle for 4th place, because it's Jamie Smith in 2nd, Brandon Smith in 4th, and the leader and winner 3 times today, Sebastian Boyd. 3 out of 3 for Sebastian Boyd and Burrell Art. Jamie Smith's going to come through for 2nd place. His teammate making it formation flying there for the Burrell boys. Waylon Wyman is going to hang on for third and Brandon Smith for fourth. Just going to beat Kian Grottis to the line. Devon Brock and Joseph Ools eventually coming through there in seventh. Some problems there for Ools in the closing stages, dropped him out of contention for a potential race win. Jamie Smith is happy with his performance, that's for sure. And Sebastian Boyd is going to be ecstatic with the way things are finished up here for the final heat of the day here, coming from DD2s. Boyd from Smith, Wyman, Smith, Grottis, Brock and Ools. Spanianos, Zafiris and Fisser, that did not finish and did not start, in fact, there for Fisser. Spanianos and Zafiris, who had some problems and only completed 7 of the 10. So that wraps up all of our action here today from Formula K, round 2 of the Rotax Max Challenge South Africa.
Right, we're going to move on to DD2. And in 6th position for the DD2, kart number 63, Nicholas Spanianos. In 5th position, kart number 16, Kian Grottis. In 4th position, kart number 3, Brandon Smith. In 3rd position, kart number 1, Joey Ools. In 2nd position, kart number 33, Jamie Smith. And the winner for the day, kart number 69, Sebastian Boyd. Right, that is our DD2 class for the day. In 6th position, kart 63, Nicholas Spanianos. 5th, 16, Kian Grottis. 4th, kart number 3, Brandon Smith. In 3rd position, kart 1, Joseph Ools. 2nd, 33, Jamie Smith. And the winner for the day, 69, Sebastian Boyd.